Hello everyone, Joshua here, and today I'm going to make a video on the PlayStation 2 tool, DTL T10K. I've noticed on some of the videos that I've posted on this tool unit that the community is really interested in these tools, and I find it really amazing that almost, everyone around, just in general, people are so fascinated with these PlayStation units. So I thought I might shed some light and bring these tool units, which are in the dark and you have to go dig for all the information. And I wanted to kind of make it a little bit more mainstream and a bit more known of how these things work. Sorry about the notifications behind me. People are absolutely blowing up my YouTube channel right now because I just posted a video. So I'm going to divide this video up into 4 or 5 parts. Part number 1 is what I'm doing now, is I'm just talking about the unit. Part 2 is going to be initial configuration. That's why I have my keyboard here, my monitor plugged in. And part number 3 of this video, section number 3, is going to be getting the PC side set up over there. Part number 4 is going to be running samples and actually proper game dev from that machine to this and getting it up on the screen. So I'm going to run this down from here. Video starts here, I guess. These PlayStation 2s were made, they have a very specific purpose. Try to remember that back in the day, the PlayStation 2 was more powerful than any PC at the time. You could not, in 1999 when this thing was designed, you couldn't get a computer with a better graphics processor. You couldn't get a computer that could get more out of it at the time, at least. Game creators, I'll just say game creators were able to push engines much harder because these machines were a world more powerful than the units, or the actual game development computers. So the reason why that tool equipment exists is simply because it's more powerful and also more secure. What a lot of game devs would do is they would try to make a really big game, but the computers that they are making the game on aren't able to do it. So what they do is that this tool here would allow them to push their games harder, make them look better, more polygons, more animations, more sounds, more everything. So the reason why that these units really exist is it's not only a money-driven thing, it's also for the sake of actual just raw power. A few words on the build quality and a little tour around the unit, because some people wanted to see these. First thing I'm going to make very clear is don't buy one of these things if you just want to play games on it, because you may as well just go throw $1,000 out the window. These are not worth the money for just playing games. If these things break, not only will the tool community probably be a little pissed at you, but also these things are impossible to repair. There's no parts out there if you want to buy one of these things. And in fact, even to buy one of these things, that actually says right there, property of Sony. If you actually want to buy one of these tool units, you have to use you basically have to use a website called Assembler Games, and you go onto the want to buy section and you submit a want to buy request. If you don't, and you want to buy one of these things off eBay, please just go throw $1,000 out the window, because if you these units are very delicate. There's 2 motherboards in here. There's a PS2 motherboard and a PC motherboard, and they sit on top of each other on a back plane, on a back panel. And what happens is the PC side and the PS2 side are connected through these ports which hold the boards together. If I were to even just bang this thing, the boards will just fall down. They'll just shatter. I've actually had a problem on this. This tool unit is brand new. I literally got this thing basically brand new. It had never been turned on since 2005, and it hasn't even left Sony headquarters because it's a DTL T10K1 series. So this hasn't even been left Sony, and I've had issues with it straight out of the box. One time I actually lifted this thing up so it was facing upright, and when I moved it down, both of the hard drives in the thing failed, to the point where it was clicking loudly, it was failing, it wouldn't post, and I was panicking, the forum didn't know what was going on. So my advice is just please do not buy these things on eBay. Please do this properly and go to a marketplace that specializes in selling these things, because they are so delicate. I mean, it's your money. You can do what you want with your money, but I'm just saying, the eBay ones go for $1,000. I bought this one for $350, and this one works, and that other one on eBay was absolutely annihilated. So yeah, I'd say just stick with the marketplace. So yeah, repairing these things, unless you like know your stuff and you're experienced at disassembling and repairing, don't do it. Don't even open this thing. You'll probably just destroy it. So yeah, taking care of it, simple stuff. You have the workstation stuff, just leave workstation mode off, because it's usually used for ROM flashes and stuff. Just take care of it in general. Like, don't bang it around. Make sure, it's facing this way, not upside down, so the drives sit properly in their bays. It's development equipment, it's not designed to be moved around. And basically how this works is you make your games on the PC, you compile the code into a proprietary format, which will then go onto here and run on here, which you will see in this video. So, back now to part 2. I'm going to run a guide, which I should probably look up on my phone actually. I'm not very prepared for this, I just wanted to get it out the way, because I've seen people blowing off big money on these things and they don't work. I actually have a guide on the Assembler Games forum that I'll link in the description, because some people wanted to know how to do this from scratch, and it's also a noob friendly tutorial. So if you actually have absolutely no idea what you're doing, you can still follow it. I'm actually going to get into the whole nitty-gritty, let's go now kind of thing. So you just hold it down initially it won't turn on, you have to hold it for 3 seconds. And you have that lovely boot process. I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to plug it in, pull this out, and plug the actual tool cables I have here in. Simple. So right now I'm going to show you how to actually configure the unit so that it works, because it's nice to have working units, I'm just saying. I'll turn the monitor on. So, you've just got your new PlayStation 2 tool, DTL T10K from Assembler Games or eBay. And if you got it from eBay, you better hope that this posts, because the chances are kind of slim nowadays. Anyways, I'm just gonna turn my brightness down a bit so I can save my battery for this. So, the tool side's initializing, and there it is. Now, we're gonna log in with administ, which is the default username and password, or not. Let me check my guide. Or what you can do is you can use something called, you can do login Z and password is Z, and then you can reset the password, but I'm not going to do that. Oh yeah, it's root and administ. So now we're into the unit. We are going to set up the IP configuration. I already have mine set up, but you're going to have to do it for yours, because if it's a new one, it's probably going to have some weird IP on it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do CD, just like any old DOS computer, and we're going to look in the directory of you're going to go to etc. Wait, hold on, let me just double check. etc sysconfig and network scripts. Once you're here, we are going to now edit the IP settings by doing a VI by doing VI IFCFG ETH0. And by going into here, you will be prompted with settings like this. Just enter mine and then adjust it for how your IP settings are. But you have your network, which is your gateway, DCHP hostname, you know, your gateway, IP address type. As I say, have it static just for the novelty. Then when you're done, and you want to save what you've written, you hit. Oh yeah. Here you go. This is also important. To actually write into the document, to write into the document, you have to press the insert key. So press the D key and then the insert key. Type in what you want to type in, which is all that, and then hit escape, and hit escape, shift, and this button at the same time. And when you do that, it will save that document and kick you right out of it. Then what you're going to want to do is reset the PlayStation 2 altogether. So I'm just going to do Control-Alt-Delete. Control-Alt-Delete also resets it. So we're going to do we're going to reset it. Just giving you an idea of what this would be like when you first do it. So this is now reset. Now, what you're going to want to do is, you're done on the PS2 side. This will turn off. Tool's going to kick off soon, or not. I guess it left it on. Yeah, so you're going to want to leave this. I'm just making sure it's doing its thing properly, and I didn't accidentally just erase the BIOS or do a factory reset. Pretty sure that was a proper exit. Right, that'll work now. So, what you're going to want to do now is unplug your keyboard. Gently lug, because you don't want to short it out. And I'm about to commit a sin. But I advise you guys, please don't do this, because if you pull out the cable wrong, you'll blow the video coder. So I'm going to pull it out like this, like so. And we're now onto the next part of the video, and that is setting this up on the PC side. So, right, now we're on the PC side of things, and I am going to show you how to set up your PC side for game development. So you're going to need three things. You are going to need, of course, your computer on the same internet connection, network connection as the tool. And you are going to need a game, actually. You're going to need a PS2 game called Bloody Roar 4. And I'm just going to mount that. Oh, okay, well that's fantastic. I'm just going to go and mount that for the time being. But first, before you go and download Bloody Roar 4, and first we need to actually get something more important done. Usually the first thing you do every single time you set up a development environment, and that is you want to get the PS2 SDK from 2005. As I say, everything's on Assembler Games. You go to Pool 7's profile and you just download the SDK. You install it. It even has, training guides. I'm teaching you more about the unit, EE tools, software tools, HDD checker, QA stuff. Has a bunch of tools in here, but mainly the compiling code, which we really need later on. So you're going to want to install the SDK. It's basically just you just download the ISO file. You mount it on here, you double click it, you install the SDK, and it will make a folder on your computer called USR. You got a local SCE, because SCE is for PS2. Cell over here is for my PS3 game dev stuff, which I'm not doing right now. So yeah, just install that SDK, and it will just make a folder on your computer right there. But it's very important. Don't skip the SDK. Now we're actually going to set up our PS2 actual, programming stuff. So you're going to want to go here. Once again, on Pool 7's page, or go on Assembly Games and type in Code Warrior, and you'll see a post called Request Code Warrior PS2. Once again, on Pool 7's page, just download these mega files and install each one of them, run the crack and stuff. Of course, this stuff's cracked because no one's going to be contacting Sony and saying, hey, can I have a license? They'll probably just say, what? What? Because this unit has been out of development since 2005, so don't bother with the legality of it. This is completely legal. This stuff's that tool behind me is older than me. So we are going to install that SDK. So we've installed the SDK, and then what we're going to do is install Code Warrior, which is, as I said, the Code Warrior tools, and you will get a few programs. You'll get the IDE. This is what you actually make your programs on. And I'm going to go open, or actually no, I'm going to go new, and you just make a new app station. You can do Hello World programs. Okay, that's all you have to do. Then you just go to project. Wait, hold on. Let me just open one real quick. Let me go to new, make a new project. So this here is the Code Warrior tools. So this is what you installed after the SDK if you followed the guide step by step like how I put it out. I'm just going to set that as the thing. Project name, I don't care right now. And it's going to be set in C. So here we go. Now to actually to set everything up, you're going to want to go to project, I guess. I think it's project. I might be wrong. Oh no, there you go. Edit preferences. And you want to go here into the source tree, and you want to add SCE, SCE bin, SCE EE GCC bin, and this long line just added in anyway for the novelty. And yeah, so now you can code. You can basically code. At this point, I can run this debug script, and the tool behind me will will initiate and all that stuff, but I'll leave that because I don't really want to do that right now. So, now I'm going to move on to a more advanced level. This is if you want to do graphics related stuff. This is if you want to do RenderWare 3. I'm going to show you how to do this particularly with RenderWare 3 is because those are mainly on the videos people wanted to see a guide from. So I'm going to go to my download section. Sorry, I'm going to go to my PC, and I'm going to open that bloody RAW 4 disk that I found. Remember how I said that I had, bloody RAW 4? And that you have to download that PS2 game? Download the PS2 game, bloody RAW 4, go into the dummy files, open the DMM file, and wabam. If I pull this up here, you will now have the ability, if you hit this installer, just so I want to prove I'm not joking, it'll say RenderWare Graphics SDK 3.5 for the PS2, and I'm actually going to Alt F4 out of this because I don't want this to change any of my system variables because I've already done this and I know it works. I'm just going to, yes, please quit that, and install that RenderWare SDK. Now what you're going to want to do is go into this PC again, and when you go into your C drive, you'll see a new directory called RW and Graphics. Now I want you to copy this directory here, this RW Graphics, after you've installed RenderWare, and now we have to embed it into the IDE programming stuff. So I'm going to go to Edit, Preferences, and we're going to make a new name. We're going to make a new, we're going to go here. We're going to call this RW3, and we're going to paste that directory of the RW and then Graphics. Paste that into there, and apply it into there. now you should be good to go. Now I'm gonna let you guys know something. This SDK from 2005 will be broken. If I try to compile code with the raw data off the disk, you will get like a few errors. I think you can get like 7 errors. What you do is you double click on the errors when you see them. I can't actually show it to you now because I don't have the because mine's already fixed. But what you'll have to do is you'll see errors, red error codes. Just click on them when you hit when you write your code. Hit compile and run. All you have to do is just delete. Just double click on the red lines that have error codes in them and just delete the lines out of the code right out the SDK. So the SDK, as I say, the compilers do have a few errors. Literally just delete them out the SDK if they're causing issues. And it's a little bit of trial and error, and eventually it'll work. If you guys can't figure it out, as I say, I'll just link you my SDK files in the description if you want them. So, now, we have our RenderWare installed. Now, we can do is we can run graphics examples on the PS2. So, we're gonna have another program here called ComUtil. CW_ComUtil. Oh, whoops. Okay, whatever. You get the idea. What you'll have to do the first time when you run this. So if you go to RenderWare, graphics examples, let's just do my DTL example, which people liked. You're going to have to run the MCP, and then you're going to want to hit make. What this will do is this will get all these data here, and it will make it to an ELF file. As you see, it compiled just then, and I'm going to want to run that. Now, it'll pull up this window here, and it will connect to the PS2, and the code will run. But the first time you do this, actually I have a PC running in right now with the same IP address. So I'm just going to turn this computer off so that it'll work. But yeah, the first time you try to run this program, or try to run one of your codes that you've written, it'll give you an error. It'll say 192.1 or whatever your IP address has timed out, whatever. So what you're going to want to do is go to PS2 and go to Communication Preferences and set up your IP address. Don't touch anything else, just change that. And you can look here. You can even do a debug station, so you can even do like one of those test PlayStation 2s if you plug it in the USB into the FireWire. I think so. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure it's just plugging the debug serial right into the actual tool. Anyways, so now that you have you've set that up and connected to the box, I'm actually going to run this now just for the sake. Actually, I'm going to unplug that computer out of the power because it's causing problems now. And you're done. So now, what you're seeing here is that code, this sample I've just run here, running on the tool. And I will actually go into the third person now and show you that working. Back into the third person here, and I wanted to show you it working properly. So I'm going to do ComUtil, and I'm just going to close the example I already have running. I'm going to go into my decal, and I'm going to run the decal ELF. It'll kick this on, the code will be sent around, it'll initialize, and it'll take a second for it to read into the memory, and then it will show up on here. There you go. So this is really great because you can actually make your games in the RenderWare engine, and then you just plonk it right into the actual skeleton stationary, and then just compile it right onto the unit. So yeah, you can actually make your whole games. This project really does take a bit of thinking. Like, you actually have to, with game development, you actually have to use your brain. Like, if something doesn't work, it's like, when something doesn't work, there's not really information out there on how to do it. You just got to figure it out yourself. Figure it out yourself. So I hope you guys have learned something from here. I'll help you guys out, but if you have no idea what you're doing, as I say, I advise that I don't know. Don't ask me things that you know, if you're having 27 plus errors in your code and you don't know how to program, you actually have no idea how to, you know, remove code out of a command line, then I'm sorry, I don't know how to help you besides give you my own files. But yeah, I thank you guys for supporting me on this one, and I hope I can bring this stuff more mainstream. Thank you for watching, and Joshua signing out. Thank you guys. Goodbye.